Okay, you're live.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This is our special call meeting of the Athens-Clarke County Board of Election and Voter Registration, September 21st, 2021, and it is 4:31 p.m. Due to the COVID precautions, this meeting is being held virtually.
Madam Chair, we lost you.
She's still there, but her sound and picture is gone.
Uh-oh.
Does this mean that Rocky will have to return the cookies?
Not sure. Oh, now she dropped off.
Oh, no.
I imagine she just bumped a wrong button or something. Let's wait a moment.
I'll try calling her unless somebody else is on the phone with her already. Oh, here she comes.
Okay, so I look legitimate again. I do not know. It just pitched me out. Don't think it's anything. I have no clue. So, where are we?
I think we lost you right as you were sort of calling us to order. You were saying we're meeting for something like that, I think.
I did. I was just about to say that, Adam, if you would read the board members' oath of office for us, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I do swear or affirm that I will, as a member of the Board of Elections, duly attend all ensuing primaries and elections during the continuance thereof, that I will, to the best of my ability, prevent any fraud, deceit, or abuse in carrying on the same, that I will make a true and perfect return of such primaries and elections, and that I will at all times truly, impartially, and faithfully perform my duties in accordance with Georgia laws to the best of my judgment and ability.
Thank you, Adam. Now we'll adopt the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda, agenda for this special call meeting. Okay, Rocky.
So moved.
Adam.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. So, excuse me. So the the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any discussion on it? If not, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 I think I did not. Hank, I didn't have you on screen at the time. Did I get I got an aye? Thank you. So, with the 5 members, it is unanimous, and we'll go forth to take up the business at hand. Do we have any public comments? I didn't receive any. Did anybody else receive?
Madam Chair, there were several emails I got, but I'm skimming through them. I don't see them clearly marked public comment. They seem like public comment, but I forget what we've decided in the past about whether to err on the side of reading them or not. But
Rocky, I'm sorry. I see Rocky's hand. Rocky.
Oh, I was just gonna comment that I received them too, and they generally all say the same thing, more or less. It would be helpful perhaps if we read one, even though it's not designated. For public comment, we could leave the name off.
Okay.
Or perhaps we could list the names of the people that sent them and just read one, summarizing one. They will all, of course, be published with the.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Which one of you would like to read the names and just read one of the comments?
I nominate the secretary.
I accept, if that's okay. And I guess I don't want to oversimplify, but I do see what you mean, Rocky. I see that, for example, the first 3 that I received, I'll pretty much say the same thing. So I guess I'll read it and then I'll credit it to the senders. I see an email that came from Dawn Fest, Paola Barriga, and I believe Angela Green and Mandy Mastrovita had similar text in their email. Hello, I am a resident of Athens-Clarke County. Ahead of the 2021 elections, the Athens-Clarke Board of Elections must ensure that all voters in the county have access to equitably placed and fully staffed early voting sites and drop box locations. This must include an early voting location on the University of Georgia campus, offering early voting on both Sundays, and offering early voting from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. so that all voters can participate in our elections no matter their work hours or their family obligations. The county should offer 2 drop boxes as allowed by SB 202. Once these decisions are made, the Board of Elections must clearly communicate the hours and locations for voters to cast their ballots by updating their website with information on early and drop box voting, as well as for those voting on Election Day. I appreciate your work. And I'll just be sure that I see pretty much the same text from Dawn Fest, Cheryl Meskin, Paola Barriga, Mandy Mastrovita, Angela Green, Teresa Flynn. I'm sorry, no, Teresa Flynn is a little different. I see some Deirdre Kane had the same text. Yes, so that's one email that I'm seeing, that one public comment. The next that I see, this is great. We had so many comments. I'm having a hard time sifting through them. This is wonderful. Let's see. Okay, this one seemed different enough. Dear Board of Elections, this is from Teresa Flynn. Dear Board of Elections, my name is Teresa Flynn, and I've lived in Athens-Clarke County for over 20 years. I hope you will do all you can to ensure that there is easy access to voting for ACC citizens in the November 2021 elections, including 2 drop boxes, ideally located along public transportation lines, and voting on both Sundays allowed. Please make sure early voting will last at least 12 hours so most people who want to vote can do so, despite what their shift schedule might be. We aren't always told in advance, and with a voting location on the UGA campus to ensure access for those who work shifts at UGA, as well as for the students and faculty who may not have time to travel downtown during the day. Once your plans are in place, I hope you will publicize them clearly so that everyone in Athens-Clarke knows exactly when, where, and how they can vote in the next election. Having a voice in our representation could not be more important, and people can only access the polls if they know the specifics of how to do so. Thank you so much, Teresa Flynn. As I said, Deirdre Kane was the next comment I saw that was similar to the first type that I read. The next that I see is from Jacqueline Elsner. Dear board members and staff, I attended the September 16 Voter Education Forum for Political Parties and applaud our Board of Elections staff for their hard work. I ask our board members to adjust the proposed early voting locations to include an early voting location on the University of Georgia campus, offer early voting on both Sundays, and offer early voting from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. so that all voters can participate in our elections no matter their work hours or their family obligations. Currently, the staff plans on one drop box inside the 155 East Washington Street office. Please offer 2 drop boxes as SB 202 allows. Locate them where more voters can get to them. You can look over the statistics of voter drop box usage from November 2020, December 2020, and January 2021. Pick the 2 locations that received the most absentee ballots during these 3 elections. Thanks for your diligence. Sincerely, Jacqueline Elsner. Those are all the public comments that I had received, Madam Chair, but it wouldn't hurt if somebody were checking their inbox as well. Maybe I did not receive one or I skipped over one.
You went through all the ones that I received also.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Thank you all for your public comments, and we'll keep those things in mind. I think one of the main things that I heard that is probably not allowable, and that is more than one drop box. And I'm sure we'll get into that, probably during this discussion on the SB 202. So the new business is advanced voting hours and locations for the November 2021 election. And Director Sosby, if you would be good enough to go over the ones that you had given us last week at the regular monthly meeting, if you have that information on hand.
Okay, so what I presented to the board is really and truly based on what we can staff for. If I could start off by saying that opening locations and extending location hours require staffing. And we have a need of about 100, I believe, poll workers, maybe 30, anywhere from 30 to 100. I can't remember. Lisa would have that number. Is it 30?
We've done well with pulling people together in the last few days. So we are down to, on election day, needing 14 people. And to fully staff the advanced voting hours that you see in front of you, we need 12 more people. So, and I have exhausted everyone to call that is currently an Athens-Clarke County poll worker.
Okay. And so we had to base it on to the minimum of what we could provide, basically. And and basically just do what the state requires us to do. Again, we do have our poll worker positions open. Since yesterday, we've had 6 people to apply. So we hope that we can get what we have already staffed, what we've got planned. But what I presented to the board was for us, we will begin early voting on the week of the 11th, but we will not start until the 12th because the 11th is a state observed holiday, which is Columbus Day. We will conduct early voting in our office that week from 8 till 5. And then on Saturday in our office from 9 to 5, as stated in the official code of Georgia. The second week, we would have advanced voting that starts on October 18th from 8 to 5, again on Saturday from 9 to 5. And then and that is Saturday, October 23rd. And then on week 3, we presented from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Now, what we did add was that we would have our early voting location sites, which is Miriam Moore Community Center, the ACC, the Athens Regional Library, Cooperative Extension Office, and the Tennis Center. where we would start voting there on Saturday, October 23rd from 9 to 5 and conduct from 9 to 5 the week 3 that starts on October 25th. So basically 8 to 5 in our office, except for on Saturdays, the 16th and the 23rd. And then starting on the 23rd, we will add our additional sites, starting from 9 to 5 and then 9 to 5 each day thereon until the close of advanced voting. And when I made this proposal, I did take a lot of factors. You know, I took a lot of things in consideration. For one, the kind of election that we're conducting is similar to what we conducted in 2017, which was a transportation splosh in the city of Winterville. That election ended with a 21.22% voter turnout and only 225 voters who voted on Saturday of that number. And the total number of voters for advanced voting was 3,729.
Okay. Would you, I heard you mention the 23rd. I didn't quite catch that date and time.
So Saturday, October 23rd, we would have advanced voting from 9 to 5 in our office and at our satellite locations.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
If it might be okay, and I guess I would check with you first of all, but then also Director Sosby. There's the spreadsheet that Director Sosby had sent to us that had a summary of these locations. If it's okay with you, Madam Chair, I would ask Director Sosby if it's okay with her if I show this on the screen for us right now. If that's not an internal only document, would that be okay with you, Madam Chair?
It's absolutely.
I see Director Sosby give me the thumbs up, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. So I give me a moment.
Yeah, once it's created, it's a public document. So
just want to be sure it wouldn't be if something had changed or if it's going to be updated. But okay, great. So let me share my screen.
Thank you.
So here's what I see. And then so I'll zoom in. So that, if I recall correctly, Director Sosby, that's what you had just gone over. Is that right?
it's not showing yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I ruined everything. There we go. How about this?
Okay.
I'm a visual person, so it was so helpful to see this while I was hearing Director Sosby read this stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Madam Chair, I have a question for the director or the attorney's office. The director can probably answer it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rocky.
So SB 202 allows for Sunday voting. Can you clarify and cite in the law where it says, is it either or? It cannot be both. Is that correct? In a given weekend?
It can be both,
Okay.
but we do have the option of having Sunday voting.
Okay. So it can be both, either or. Okay. That answers my first question.
Adam,
Saturday's mandatory.
could you put the screen back up, Adam, if you
Yes, ma'am.
Saturday is
Sure.
mandatory.
Right.
And Sunday is an extra. All right.
That's right.
Understood.
Thank you.
Sure. And I'll keep it up until we want to go back to where we can all see each other better. So how about that? I'm fine with this until then.
That works for me. Yes. I was trying to, pardon me, I'm just talking to myself. I'm trying to figure out what that date is. The 25th.
Madam Chair, while you're looking, do you mind if I make a comment?
Go ahead, please, please.
Yeah, so as the director said, this is a rather small election, so I support having voting at UGA. I believe that logistically it's too late because we have to have their approval, and it was a whole process we went through last time in November. And I
Mhm.
don't remember if we went through that for January. I'm not sure that we'll be able to do UGA for this particular election, but for future larger elections, such as the May primary coming up in 2022, I do support that as well. And then there was a comment in some of the public comments about adding a second drop box. And I understand that we don't have enough registered voters to add a second one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, what if it were to be placed in the city of Bogart or the city of Winterville?
That I do not know. That would be a question for the attorney.
Miss
Right.
Pappas, did you hear that question?
Yes, Mr. Raffle, I did. I would have to look at SB 202 to make sure. I don't want to comment right now, but basically, so your question is, can we place a drop box in city of Bogart, and what was the other one? I'm sorry.
City of Winterville, still within Clark County, but in those particular areas.
Okay. I have SB 202 up on my computer, so let me do some searching and hopefully I can answer that for you here in a few minutes.
Okay. But otherwise, I believe it's one box per 100,000 people, or is it 150?
That it was my understanding it was 100,000.
Okay. And we have 133, something like that.
I
Or is it per registered voter?
was thinking it was per registered voters, but then again, I would seek the attorney on that.
It's if you exceed 100,000 voters that you're allowed to have more than one more than one ballot drop box. And as it relates to Bogart, they're not under our governing authority as it is related to county. They are, is it Walton County? Oconee County. Oconee County is their county seat. So they would be the ones responsible for drop boxes as it relates to that area.
Okay. So
But-
maybe specifically then the city of Winterville is maybe a better question to focus on rather than the portion of Bogart and Clark.
And because we hold their elections, it would fall under that particular umbrella. If they held their own elections, then yes, they could have a drop box at their location.
They're gonna have a separate drop box.
Right.
Thank you, Director Souza.
And then, of course, the drop boxes have to be monitored and they're only open during advance voting.
Madam Chair, I have a question for the director.
Yes, go ahead.
For the satellite locations on the weekdays, have you considered instead of the 9 to 5, maybe like 11 to 7 to compensate for the fact that people can, if they are working a little longer shifts, or if they are, sometimes people cannot get away from work so easily, although we are giving folks plenty of opportunity by keeping them open on Saturdays. So the Saturday, all the locations are available. I'm not that concerned about the UGA, having a box at UGA because the office is very, very close. The tennis center, no, tennis center is kind of far away, but the office downtown is fairly close. But what about changing the hours of the location from 9 to 5 to like 11 to 7, or maybe 11:30 to 7:30?
That's something that we will have to speak with the facilities about, that we are actually holding the election at, to see if they will allow us to be in that late. Because I do know that the library has some time restraints, that we've had to have some issues with them in the past, because they close at a certain time and they have to have people out of the library at a certain time for them to set the alarm. That's what it was in the past. So I don't know what it would be now. Again, that would have to be a conversation that we'd have to have with the facilities. They can allow us to vote at their locations, but they're not obligated to doing that. I guess that's so we have to go by whatever their hours are.
Which if they had additional staff, it would cost them to pay additional staff just to be in the building. Is that one of the things that's going on?
That's true.
But if they are all open until 6 p.m., then that would not be an issue, I guess.
Well, if they're right, so if they're open until 6 p.m., then we would
Right.
have to end by 5:30, because you have to keep in
Right.
mind technically that we don't leave as soon as
Right,
early voting ends, because we've got to, there's some things that we have to do
right.
post-election. So we
Yeah.
try to end at least 30 minutes before. And you have to keep in mind too that if there's a voter standing in line, if we decide to close at 5, then you got to have time for those voters to complete voting.
Yeah, to come through. Yeah. I believe Attorney Pappas is ready to answer that question. Am I right?
Yes, I have posted the pertinent language from SB 202 in the chat. But to answer your question, Mr. Raffle, I don't believe that placing an additional drop box in Winterville would be allowed. It does, the limitations are 1 drop box for every 100,000 active voters in the county. It doesn't make an exception for counties with different cities. So it's just the county as a whole. And then again, the actual language is posted there in the chat. It's on page 47 of the text of SB 202.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
When is our deadline for the actual elections on November the 2nd to get our polling information into the state for that particular, when is our deadline on that?
The deadline to post advanced voting information is September 27th.
Okay. I mean, the not the advanced voting, but the actual voting day. Don't we have to turn in that information to them, or what polls will be open?
No,
We don't have to do that.
No, we don't have to do that. When we indicate that we have an election, it automatically lets them know which polling locations are open, which are our county polling locations. So we just give that information in advance.
Thank you.
And they're already aware that we're having a countywide election, because we've already started with our ballot proofing and things.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, please.
This is partly kind of revealing my newness to the Board of Elections. Director Sosby, would you mind walking me through in the past, like, and I guess without taking up too much time, I don't want to take up too much of our time. UGA, why did we not? I don't recall us having UGA as a polling location last year. I would assume it was because of the pandemic, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was a polling place. And then Rocky alluded to there being kind of a long, involved process to secure approval for any location. How long would you estimate it would take if we were to want to try and get UGA as a location? How long would that process take?
Now that Senate Bill 202 requires us to have our advanced voting locations in by a certain period, I would say probably 2 months, a month, 2 months, but I'm not sure exactly the time frame. But
Mhm.
usually UGA doesn't allow us to come in unless there is a major election going on.
Gotcha.
And so an election like what we're getting ready to have in this November, that wouldn't have been something that they would have entertained. I mean,
I see.
we probably could force the matter, so to speak, try to convince them, but I don't foresee that happening. Again, we
Gotcha.
got about a 22% voter turnout. I'm not sure how wise that would be. Um, but it's usually
Right.
when there's a major election and it gets the publicity of all of the students there that if they're not voting here, they can at least they're aware that they can vote at their residential locations.
I see. And then just one last thing. Sorry, Madam Chair. Director Sosby, when we have done it at UGA, did we do it last year real quick? Was UGA a polling place last year?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
they're called
did for the
secret.
November election.
Wonderful. Okay, gotcha. And then I guess you presented 2017 as a kind of a comparison to what we can project for the turnout. As I recall, that had a similar ballot measure. It had a SPLOST measure. It was a T-SPLOST that year. We have an E-SPLOST this time. But then we even had a couple of special House races, didn't we? State House. So if anything, I hope it's going to be great turnout, but this might be even smaller turnout than 2017, right? There's fewer items on the ballot to attract countywide attention.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Do any of the other board members have any more questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Rocky?
So to Mr. Kadir's point earlier, as the superintendent, we do have ultimate say in what these hours are, and that's the purpose of us being here today in this meeting. So with that, I have a couple changes I'd like to propose to the schedule that was presented to us. How would you like to proceed? Because they're little changes, so I don't want them to get lost in a big, long, complicated motion.
Okay. Would you present those changes to us and then we can go from there?
Okay.
The suggested changes?
Yeah, I have a few, so do you want to just go through one and then discuss it and vote on it, and then go through one and discuss and vote? Or how do you want to do it? It's about 3 different changes.
Okay, we can discuss, we go through each one and discuss and, vote and proceed like you said.
Okay, so the first one is to extend, in the past, I'm looking back at what we did for January 5th and without looking at the 2020 calendar. I believe we did some Wednesdays until 7 p.m. So I'm proposing that we do at the ACC library, Wednesday, 25, 26, I was not prepared with calendar. Sorry. Work with me here. So October 27th at the ACC library, I'm proposing changing that time from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. for the library's voting location. I'm concerned that there are folks that work until 5 o'clock and might have trouble getting there. I understand that there is Saturday voting, but perhaps their days of the week off are Monday and Tuesday or something. So ACC library, and then on that same day, October 27th, I'm proposing at the Miriam Moore Community Center, we also do the same thing of extending those hours till 7 p.m. with a little bit later of a start of 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Miriam Moore ACC library on October 27th.
And Madam Chair, I hope y'all can see this okay. I'm trying to illustrate
We can,
what you're suggesting.
thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to just list the other ones and then we can just
Yeah,
talk about them all?
order that you presented.
Unless other folks have ideas, which we can also debate against. But why don't I list mine and then we'll go from there. I am proposing that we add a Sunday in the office downtown. Now I'm not sure if the SB 202 designates a certain Sunday, but I'm proposing October 24th is that Sunday. It's an alternative location. I also thought about maybe the library instead of downtown, but I think the library doesn't open until noon or something on Sunday. It opens a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm proposing perhaps 12 to 4 on that Sunday, something like that. Open to debate, of course. And then I think maybe that was just 2 that I thought was 3 ideas.
The library on October the 24th, which is a Sunday also, from 12 to 4. Is that?
Well, let's discuss that. I think we should at least do the office on that Sunday from 12 to 4. But if folks want to have the ACC library, I think that would be an awesome addition to that.
Okay.
But for ACC library, you're only proposing that one day. October
For
22nd.
Sunday, but the ACC library is also included in the
Early.
7 p.m. change.
Right. Okay.
And that's all I had. So I can form that in the way of a motion, or I'll let you handle however you want to do the debate on it.
Well, is there any other member who would like to weigh in at this point?
Yeah, I'd like to weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you the problem I have with this. It's just as important that we communicate what we are proposing to do. And to try and post this places, I just think it's going to get lost. I don't think people will pay attention. Okay, on that Monday it's available till 7 and that Sunday till 4. If we are going to make such a change, I would have liked to see it making it all Sundays, 12 to 4 at the office, or Miriam Moore Center is open till 7 throughout, or 10 till 7, 11 till 7, every day throughout the week during the open hours or such. I just think breaking it down, that communication is not going to have that effect, and the lot of time of the staff, their hours, the effort, it's just not going to amount to much. But that's my opinion. Rocky?
Yeah, Madam Chair, do you mind if I respond?
Go ahead.
So the reason why I suggest one day is kind of to the point that the staff made, that we have a staffing issue. I feel that it is my duty to make the most reasonable accommodations for the voters, but also taking into the real life reality of it, that there aren't enough workers to do the work to allow it. The other point I'd make is it's not that much different from what has been done in the past, at least since I've been on the board. However, I welcome the idea of every Sunday voting in the office, but I'm not sure the staff would welcome that idea.
Madam Chair, I have a comment. I'm sorry, I heard somebody else.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to ask, were there any more comments?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My thoughts are mostly in line with what Rocky's saying. Hank, I appreciate your concern there. And if this were more than just one day of each of the different changes, like if it was going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays will be this way, Wednesdays will be this way, I would get that resistance. That concern would be a lot more real for me. But it being just the one day, I think there's a need to get behind that with messaging, right? We would need to, if we were to go this direction, there'd be a need to say, remember, the 27th is the late day at these 2 places. You can go late to these places, right? And this is the Sunday you get to vote, right? We could work on WGA and get some messaging out. But I think it's not too much of a change. It doesn't seem too, too inconsistent. I really like the idea of having a later time, because for some of us, and I know that there are other ways to vote besides voting in person. There's absentee, which is, advanced voting absentee or by mail. I think that some people, the 5 p.m. they can't make, and so 7 p.m. just makes it possible for some reason. Maybe the partner is home, they can watch the kids while you go vote, or tag in, tag out. And I really like the idea of Sunday voting. Of course, like Rocky says, I'm curious to know, when we get to that point, how staff feels about this. I know we already just heard that staffing is already not full. We don't have a full staff yet for Plan A. But I really like the idea of having even just one Sunday for voting, to say, look, if all else, if you're busy 6 days a week, if you can just make it Sunday, we got you covered. So those are my thoughts. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I would weigh in on the Miriam Moore Center. I would like to see the hours extended, because in that area, more than likely between those hours, we are not going to be hitting the people in those areas, to some of them to actually be able to vote during that time, because a lot of them work during those hours. So I would like to see some extended hours at the Miriam Moore Center, rather than all 9 to 5.
I have another question or a comment, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of feel your way that we should have extended hours there throughout the week, or at least 1 week. The other question I would have for the director and the staff is, at least from my point of view, I'm okay to give up 1 weekday. We don't have to keep it open every single day if we can accommodate later hours, a weekend, one Saturday, one Sunday, or something like that. I just feel it has to be a little more consistent, but I definitely, I do not want to make a proposal or support a proposal that the staff is not very comfortable working on it, knowing the shortage we have right now. That's my, it's one thing for us to discuss, another thing what is possible, knowing the facilities and knowing our staffing situation.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
One small thing I wanted to add to my thoughts. I do appreciate that the turnout for this election is probably not going to be very large. I think, sort of with a nod toward what Hank is talking about people understanding and knowing when they can plan to go vote. I think that if we could try this now and get it in people's head, if we wanted to keep it for the primary in 22 and maybe the general in 22, if people could become accustomed to, there's going to be a Sunday for voting, right? There's going to be one late night. There's hope for me to vote, right? Maybe somebody who otherwise would not be able to make it at the polls, if they knew we had this habit that we've gotten them used to. So I think there's value in that. Even though turnout's going to be low, I think if we can carve out this space, that might make it pop up on someone's radar. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And basically, we're not, at least I'm not, we're not trying to extend into 9 hours of voting. We're basically, what I see is within that 8 hours, let's try and make it convenient for the voters who are in certain areas and in certain districts. As I've said before, certainly a 9 to 5 within Miriam Moore is not. I live in that area, and I usually go early vote there. That's not my assigned station, for voting. But the people, I think that area is going to absolutely need some extended hours. And I don't mean extended as past 8 hours, but extended in the fact that whatever 11 to 7 or 10 to 6, preferably 11 to 7, would give people an opportunity, because whether they use it or not, I'm saying I would love to see that open up, so at least they would have the opportunity to vote, and understand the fact that we're not going to have as many people voting in this election, but still to get people in the mindset that at this particular place, we do have extended hours. Oh yeah, I remember the last time we voted, we had extended hours. And for people to become familiar, like you're saying, Adam, with the fact that there's more going on than a 9 to 5. So with that said, Adam, I'm sorry, Rocky, would you like for us? Okay, Ms. Pappas, the attorney?
Yeah, I did have my hand raised, but the question that I had has been answered, so you can ignore my hand raise.
Okay. Thank you. So, we're not talking about, I want to reiterate, for me, I'm not talking about overtime. I'm talking about possibly, changing the staff's hours to conform to what is needed in order for more people to participate to vote. I mean, we're here to serve the people, so sometimes we have to make an extraordinary step toward doing just that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Rocky.
So, if I had made a motion, would you be proposing a substitute motion to changing Miriam Moore in its entirety for that week then?
And I don't think it has to be, well, it would be excellent if we could, if it could happen that way, for the entire week, but actually it really doesn't have to be the entire week, at least 2 to 3 days of late voting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I had just proposed the 1 day.
Yeah, I would like to see a minimum of 2 days.
Okay.
And I thank you for proposing that day. So it would.
To Hank's point, then Hank, if we were to do that, do you have a suggestion on uniformity to make it more user friendly?
Yeah, I generally like the idea if it is feasible, and I know Director Sosby would like to comment on this. Her hand is up. If we can make every location every Wednesday 11 to 7, that would, I think, that is my suggestion for it. But I'd like to hear from Director Sosby what she would.
I like that idea.
Director Souls, I apologize. I didn't see your hand. I don't have full screen on. So you guys, and go ahead, Director Soulsby.
That's what I was trying to state is if we're going to have extended hours in one location, with all fairness, we need to have extended hours in all locations.
Yes.
And then voters are not confused.
Yeah.
But it does not mean that there will not be overtime. Staff will have to be in the office during those times to assist poll workers while they are checking in voters. So we would be extended hours, and we would probably work till 9 o'clock those days to help with collecting the supplies from those locations as well. So we will have overtime. It will be with the staff at a higher dollar, basically. But we're willing to do whatever you propose as long as we are within the law. But I appreciate y'all asking us how we feel, because these are our lives that are affected by these particular changes that you make. Sunday, that's the day that my staff goes to church service. So we need to, I would like for you to consider those things and ask us how we feel, because we're people. And though you are the ones who make those decisions, please include us at the table when you're making those decisions, as if we're not. We want to be in the room.
Yeah. And maybe the Sunday voting needs to be an hour. Rocky, I apologize. Go ahead, and I can hold my thought. I had seen your hand, Rocky.
Yeah, I was remembering a comment from the previous assistant manager, and she went on record saying that overtime will not be the reason we will not do this. So I was wondering if the manager or the new assistant manager was present, but it does not look like they are. So I guess that question can't be asked. I had proposed a Sunday at noon, thinking folks would be done with service, but I'm not too familiar with what time people are done with that activity on Sundays. Could someone else fill me in on that time?
It's different times, for different churches. I think some churches even start at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And some churches, I don't know whether it still holds true or not, don't start until 12. My church, we start at 10 and normally out by 11. And some churches start at 11 and maybe out by 12 or 12:30. So I would be asking the staff, to make a commentary on that.
Madam Chair, I have a
Yes,
comment.
Hank.
Two things. One, if we are doing Saturday voting, how necessary, or I mean, what will be the return for a Sunday, keeping it open, knowing the church hours literally go from 8 in the morning till late in the afternoon for, amongst all churches? Is it that vital is what I asked the board. Second question with regards to the overtime, that is my concern. I really don't, I just feel like we have to stay within the budget, although that's not a constraint or that's something for the director to work out. Just like we are proposing a step, or at least discussing right now, extending the hours on Wednesday, do we need to have the advance voting every single day? Why not close it on Monday to save some of the money on overtime and keep it on, and we will be able to pass it on, or is that not an issue or concern?
I believe the law says it has to be Monday through Friday. I don't know.
Yes. Okay.
Someone who knows more, please correct me.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Rocky, I just happen to be looking at that right now, and I'm not in OCG. I'm in the SB 202, which became law. But yeah, if anyone's following along at home, I'm on page 59 of the bill, but it's saying that yes, early voting shall be conducted beginning at 9 a.m. and ending at 5 p.m. on weekdays. So it seems like, and of course, Director Sosby, Attorney Pappas would know better than I on this, but it seems like sounds like we can't open later than 9, if I'm understanding the law correctly, through the week. They go on to say that on the weekend, we can do it anywhere from 7 to 7 as we decide. But for weekdays, yeah, it seems to be, first of all, it has to be Monday through Friday. And it seems to be, it must be no later than 9 a.m. and it must go through 5 p.m. So
Yes,
thank you, Madam Chair.
that resolves a lot, doesn't it?
If I'm understanding that correctly, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we have more flexibility, but.
Would you weigh in on that? It seems to be pretty straightforward, but again.
That is I was looking at the same portion that Mr. Shirley was looking at, and that's my understanding, but again, I haven't had a chance to read the entirety of SB 202, so I don't want to tell you all something that might be incorrect without having a further opportunity to look at it. But certainly from that section, it appears to me that they can't be extended, but I believe maybe Liz Sosby may have a different opinion. I just haven't had time to look at SB 202 that closely.
Thank you. Director Sosby?
I'm looking at the advanced voting. This is going to be section 28 on page 57.
Mm-hmm.
It says that advanced voting shall be available 9 to 5 on weekdays and the second and third Saturday. Counties may opt to provide advanced voting on the second and third Sunday prior to the election, and registrars may extend the hours to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but only on days so specified. No advanced voting on any other days. That's what I'm reading. I didn't see anything that said till 9. But I am looking further.
Dr. Sosby, can you tell me again, I'm sorry, what section and page you were on?
I was on section 28, page 57.
Thank you.
Dr. Salisbury, can I ask you to read that again, please? That was very good information. I don't have that in front of me right now, so I can
Okay.
ask you.
It says the advanced voting hours shall be available from 9 to 5 on weekdays and the second and third Saturday. Counties may opt to provide advanced voting on the second and third Sunday prior to the election. And registrars may extend the hours to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but only on days so specified, and no advanced voting on any other days. And of course, you know, the second and third Saturday are mandatory.
Yes, and is that a 9 to 5 situation also?
Yes.
Because thank you, because it seemed like the advanced weekdays kind of blending into the second and third Saturday, so that would be a 9 to 5. Thank you.
Yes. And we were looking at the Georgia schedule, the UGA schedule.
Mm-hmm.
There's a home game on October 16th against Kentucky, I believe it is.
That's a big game.
Pretty big game. And then nobody gonna be able to watch dogs. So that's gonna be very, very creative with the parking down here, even for us.
It really is, and it's almost like you're gonna have to drive by.
But it's mandatory. So we're just gonna have to do the thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
It'll be interesting.
And now that's for sure. I'm sorry, Rocky.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could call the question and make some decisions here.
Yes, I agree. So with that information, actually, we can only do extended hours on the Sundays, right? I'm not, from what I heard that was read, we cannot do it through the week. When there's weekday voting and on the Saturdays, it's strictly like 9 to 5. But we have options, we have more options on Sundays, a few more options. Adam? Thank you.
Sorry, y'all. I'd stopped sharing so I could go dig in and find OCGA. I'm pretty sure this is what we've all been pulling from, but I was reading from SB 202 before it was the law. Now here's the law. So yeah, I think this is exactly, of course, what Attorney Pappas and Director Sosby were saying. Voting shall be conducted from 9 to beginning at 9, ending at 5 on the weekdays. So it sounds like, if I'm understanding that right, that kind of renders moot us talking about delaying the start of early voting on that Wednesday until 10 a.m. It seems, I'm not even sure if that means we can go to 7 p.m. though. If I'm reading it correctly, we're locked into 9 to 5, I thought. Seems
Yes.
like you were saying, Madam Chair, that we are good to go. We have more latitude on Saturdays and Sundays. We may extend it from 7 to 7 on Saturdays and Sundays, anywhere in there that we would like.
I would still like some information on that Saturday though, because it seems like that Saturday might have been a part of the weekday. I saw your hand, Rocky.
Yeah, I was just hoping to have Ms. Pappas interpret that particular paragraph, because I understood it as must be 9 to 5, but allowable from 7 to 7 on any of the early voting days.
Early. Okay.
Give me 1 second to read that and I'll respond to you, Mr. Raffle.
Madam Chair, I did see that Ms. Hines is also on the call if she has an opinion
Yes.
as well.
Ms. Hines, would you like to weigh in on that also?
Hi, everyone. I just jumped on really quickly to see if I could be of any assistance before I have to jump on to another meeting. I'll say that, just quite frankly, I know we're all dealing with the changes to SB 202. are caused by SB 202. I know that Lisa is new to this and that these are honestly pretty complex. We spent a good bit of time in the past making sure that we've interpreted this correctly. So it might honestly be really helpful if we could just have a little bit of time to look at this after the meeting and then get back to you all.
That would be like tomorrow, because I think we're under a time constraint.
I mean, wasn't this published with the agenda?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So neither Lisa or I got a copy of the agenda, and we just actually got one from Lisa, and it's possible that we missed that. But all it says is that there was just discussion generally, so there wasn't, it's really helpful if we can get very specific questions in advance so that we can try to prepare for you for these meetings. Particularly just because Lisa is brand new to this role, so it's just a lot of education.
yeah. Well, I know that we're up against a deadline to notify the state, and people have packed schedules. Can we take a half an hour recess or something and go on standby here for you to research it for us? Or I really feel like we need to make a decision today to one, notify the voters of their options and fulfill our duty to notify the state.
Absolutely. A recess is not necessarily a bad idea, but I don't want to step on Lisa's toes. So what are your thoughts, Lisa?
A recess is fine. I don't know that I'll need 30 minutes, but give me maybe 15, 20 minutes. And so Rocky, basically, if I have your question correctly, is you want to know whether or not that particular code section allows for advanced voting from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the weekdays, or if that's just on the Sunday. Was that your question?
Yeah, or the Saturday. Yeah.
That, yeah.
Okay.
Where is that allowed? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I will look at that and get back to you in about 15.
The Saturday seems kind of clear enough, but yeah, we'll wait for Ms. Pappas to come back. And
Yes.
Madam
And so-
Chair,
Yes, Rocky.
are we gonna just take a real recess, or what do you want to do?
That would be up to all of us on the board. What do you guys want to go radio silent, or do you want to hang out here until she comes back?
I move that we have a recess until 5:55.
Lisa, let me recognize Lisa, because Lisa is doing our.
There's some technical things you need to know about without advance notice that we were going to recess or stop the stream, like when you go into an executive session. I have no way to do that. So the only way that I know of is to just for everyone mute their mics, don't leave the meeting, and turn off your cameras. But the stream will still be going for the entire time that you're on recess.
Okay.
I was in a meeting the other day and they just put up a quick Word doc that says meeting in recess will return whatever, and it's like size 42 font.
I can make that happen.
So you're gonna share your screen? Usually,
sorry.
yeah, usually public information makes those slates for me because they like them to look uniform. But
Oh,
if
right.
that's something you guys want to do and share your screen, that should be fine. But just know that the stream will still be going, so keep your mics turned off.
Off and cameras off. I see. Let me go
But
to
Adam can't turn his camera off because he will be showing the slate.
Hank. I saw your hand up, and then Rocky.
instead of going on a break, can we, would we be able to continue with the other items on the agenda?
There aren't really any other business items on the agenda, just some announcements, I think.
Oh, okay.
I have to reference
That's
it back because this is actually the special business that we were
Okay,
to
that's
attend
right.
to today. Mhm.
Okay, I thought we were going to discuss about whether everyone would be allowed to go to the, or I think Attorney Pappas had already clarified, so Attorney Hines, that even for this one, for the public forum at the library, only 2 people can attend. Okay,
Could not be a forum.
right,
Yes.
okay.
Adam, I believe I saw your hand.
I was going to suggest kind of like what Hank is thinking about. I don't want to get too far into hypotheticals because what Attorney Pappas tells us will determine where we go. But do we want to maybe discuss what, like at least the first couple of steps that we're going to take if she comes back and says this, or if she comes back and says that? Like, is the next move going to be a motion to do this, or should we just wait for her to come back?
Whatever the consensus is with the board. Rocky, I'll poll you first.
I'd like to just wait for the opinion, and then we can go from there. And then we can discuss the two forums after, because they're just under announcements.
Okay, Adam,
Yes, ma'am.
I was just polling the members.
About my thoughts about going forward.
Rocky
Yeah,
had
I can see how we need it's
to wait.
Yeah.
Rocky had said to wait.
Right.
Ms. Teal,
Willa, I needed to tell you, she sent me a text message. She had to drop off the call. She wasn't feeling well.
okay. We'll check on her after the meeting. Hank?
I agree. I'll go with Mr. Raffle and Mr. Shirley. Let's just wait and see what the options are.
I would say, because anything we discuss might even turn out to be.
Yeah, I mean, if it's very clear we cannot do anything, then literally we probably spend a lot of time taking up the staff's time doing this.
Yeah, spinning wheels. So if people have
Yes.
something to do, as we suggested, turn off your mute and stop.
I believe we need to vote to go to recess. So moved, we take a recess until 5:55 p.m.
A second.
Aye.
Aye. Madam Chair, you're on mute, I believe, or it seems that way.
So we had a majority, even though we did not have Adam to vote, we had a majority, so we are on recess.
Yes.
And at some point, okay, Adam said.
Sorry.
Yes, no problem, no problem. So if nothing else, probably we should come back within 12 or 15 minutes. Unless someone would prompt us, to come back. I'll be kind of watching my screen during that period. So, Adam?
And if I might just check for a logistical thing, Madam Chair or Lisa, I'm going to try stopping my video so y'all can't see me eat a sandwich, and share my screen and see if I can put up the, whatever you call it, slate. Does that kind of work?
That works.
So you can see it.
Yes.
You can't see me. Wonderful. All right. I'll mute myself, and then if that works for y'all, I'll come back in a little while.
Well, now it's not there anymore.
Right. Sorry. I'm going to mash mute, and then I'll put it back up there, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
Willa, can you stop your video?
Sorry. We will now call this meeting back to order. It is 5:56 p.m. Ms. Pappas, are you ready?
Yes, I am. So looking at SB 202 and OCGA 21-2, let me make sure I'm getting this code section right. Hang on. I think it's 382. That is the section that deals with advanced voting. And it indicates that voting shall be conducted 9 a.m. and ending 5 p.m. on weekdays. Mr. Raffle specifically had a question about whether or not those hours could be extended from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., not just on Sunday, but on weekdays. It appears that it can, but the issue is it has to be done by the registrar or absentee ballot clerk. At this point, I am not sure who the registrar or absentee ballot clerk is. You all are the superintendent. So,
That's us as well, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
I believe that's us as well.
I don't know the answer to that question. So before I make a snap judgment, and unfortunately it's not defined in the code section. So Mr. Raffle, and I apologize to everyone on the board, but I'm not going to be able to answer that question without being able to dig in and do further research. It's just so technical, and I don't want to provide wrong information and have you change something and then go back saying that, no, we weren't actually allowed to do that. So I apologize, but I just can't give that answer without knowing
Yeah.
who the
I
registrar,
believe
absentee ballot clerk are.
I believe that we are the board, well, we are the Board of Elections and registrars. So I believe that is us, and
Board of
that's within our authority.
And registration, which I assume to be registrars.
Right.
Mhm.
Ms. Hines, do you have anything else?
Right. Like you said, I really apologize that we just were not prepared to deal with this particular question tonight. We talked to Judd briefly before he headed over to a mayor and commission meeting, and he also just wasn't sure and said exactly what Lisa just said, that these are really, really technical issues and we just want to make sure that we get them right. So certainly we've advised you as to what the law says, and I'm trying to pull up the formation documents just to confirm, which I'm sure that you are probably correct that you are the registrar, but we just weren't able to confirm that before we came back from the recess. So that's what's held us up. Charlotte, do you have any insight that you want to share on this by any chance?
I'm looking at 21-2-212, trying to define who the registrar is. But that's all I'm not really finding clearly.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I feel like we've had this discussion before at a prior meeting, and that Judd offered his opinion that we are the registrars. I'm just trying, it's real gray in my head, but I believe we've discussed this before.
Before.
I think it was within, we were looking at a recount or something, last year.
During one of the elections.
Something like that, yeah.
I think Adam has posted, is that you, Adam?
No, this is me. I was pulling up the 1993 session laws. And it does say to empower said board with the powers and duties of the election superintendent. And then the next semicolon is to empower said board with the powers and duties of the board of registrars relating to the registration of voters.
See, yeah. So that makes it, so based on what Ms. Pappas said, then it's within our authority to do that. Is that correct? So, change it, sorry, within our authority to change the time to 7 p.m. or whichever time we see fit, 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever.
It says unless changed by the registrar.
Right.
Copy available.
Uh-huh.
Adam?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm curious. I am very eager to have this flexibility because it would seem like a wonderful way to balance all the differing concerns we have here, right? We want to be as open as we can to voters. We want to balance the concerns of staffing. I get that. But I want to be sure, like we all do, I want to be sure we're on the right side of the law here. And so I just want to be sure I understood Attorney Pappas, because this is y'all's expertise. So it's your opinion, having looked this over, that we do have the flexibility under this code section to extend voting beyond 9 to 5 on weekdays for advance voting?
Yes, so the code section specifically states, except as otherwise provided in this paragraph, the registrars may extend the hours for voting to permit advance voting from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Gotcha.
Okay. Is that it, Rocky?
Yeah, you were gonna speak. You go first, and then
No, I was gonna say, so that is inclusive of Saturday voting also? Attorney Pappas,
Yes.
thank you. Go ahead, Rocky.
I was just gonna say one of the things that I learned at the conference we attended was that some counties have a board of elections, and then they have a registrar that is sometimes a probate judge or something else. We are unique in that we are both. And some counties don't have a board, so there's many variations of it, but I just know that, as we just confirmed with the 1993 session, that we are both.
Mhm. Adam?
So then, to kind of, I'm curious to see how this brings us back to what we were proposing originally, what Rocky was proposing. It's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Pappas, that we may not open any later than 9 a.m. Is that right? We can go beyond 9 to 5, but in your understanding of that code section, may we delay to kind of get that later time slot to not have more hours, or must we begin no later than 9 a.m. Monday through Friday? And Attorney Hines also, I guess, since I see you on the call with us too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me your question again, Mr. Shirley.
I'm so sorry. And again, thank you so much. I know this is not, you have 42 other departments I'm sure that you're helping with. Thank you. In your understanding of the code section you were reading from, are we permitted to conduct voting that begins later than 9 a.m.? What you read to us gives us the flexibility to go beyond earlier than 9, later than 5, but may we begin later than 9 a.m., which kind of gets to what we were talking about earlier as a board.
So the beginning of that code section does say voting shall be conducted beginning at 9 a.m. It does allow for the extension, but given all the shalls before the 9 a.m., I don't believe you would be able to start early voting later than 9 p.m. because that code section does state shall begin at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
If I can just chime in real quick on that though, Lisa, what do you think about Sunday? Because I think those two sections apply to weekdays and Saturdays.
I think the other section that was read had given us some leeway on Sundays.
Right, I think Sunday has more leeway than the
Any of
weekdays.
the other
Weekdays,
weekdays or Saturday. That was my understanding.
the code section says shall at 9 a.m. and ending 5 p.m. on weekdays, and shall be conducted on the second and third Saturday during the hours of 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. So I believe, Mr. Shirley, to answer your question fully, is that on weekdays and on Saturday, it must begin at 9 a.m. On Sunday, you would have the option of having extended hours starting as early as 7 a.m., closing as early as 7 p.m. But you don't, the hours between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. you all could decide. So you could push it back to say an 11 a.m. But for weekdays and Saturdays, it must begin at 9 a.m.
And there must be voting going on between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday on those Saturdays. Is that a fair way to summarize what you've said?
Yes, and then you could extend those hours, but you couldn't you can't move you can't push the beginning time later than 9 a.m. You could extend it from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but you couldn't push the beginning time back after 9 a.m. Does that
And-
make sense?
Mhm.
It
And,
does. Thank you.
and that would be up on a vote of agreement between the registers who are us to do that. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
A motion, I'm sorry. To make a motion and to, okay. All right, so let's get back to our hours. And do we have I'm sure we do. We have a probably a better understanding than we did before we recessed. So if we're looking back, I think the discussion had been for the office downtown, the library, and Miriam Moore. But I think it was also mentioned the fact that if we did something, it need to be uniform. Is that basically what we were discussing?
Yeah, all Wednesdays from until 7. If the
Rocky?
staff works, want to make sure we are not putting any more pressure on the staff for those Wednesdays.
Madam Chair, am I recognized?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna to put forward exactly what Hank just said, so I can form that in a motion, or if he would like to, I'd be happy to second that. All Wednesdays, extending to 7 p.m. at all locations for uniformity's sake.
Okay. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second it, and
Or if you want to make the motion in second, I don't care, whatever. But
I so move.
okay, and then I'll second that. Yeah.
Okay. It is been moved by Mr. Kadir and seconded by Rocky Raffle that we extend all voting places to 7 p.m. on Wednesdays for uniformity. But I'm sure our secretary probably got it as it was spoken. So if he would read that back to us, and we can call for a vote.
Can I offer a clarification?
Yes, please.
It's the third week of voting. The Wednesday's on the third week.
Okay.
At least that's what I'm proposing. Maybe Hank feels otherwise, but week 1 and week 2 at the office, I don't think are necessary for the Wednesday.
Right.
But the third week, that way it's the same Wednesday all the way
Yes.
down.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we need to amend that or not, but
Okay, Madam Chair, shall I read that back, what I've got so far?
Please.
So what I've heard is, and I'm kind of Frankensteining here, motion by Mr. Kadir to conduct advance voting at all locations on Wednesday, October 27, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Just to kind of glom everything together to be clear.
Mm-hmm. And second by Rocky Raffle. Adam?
And sorry, I have a non-secretarial question about this. I wonder, I'm in favor of the idea, of course. I like what it does for us. I have a concern about the staffing, but I understand that is a surmountable concern. We can address that. I'm confident in that. What I am thinking about, though, is what Director Sosby informed us about, that because with these locations where we're having the voting happening, we are there with an understanding with the entity that is there. And if it's the county, it's one department to another, that's fine. But it's not nothing to have somebody there to hold the doors for us 2 more hours or whatever. So I wanted to be sure before we were to approve this and mandate this happen, I wanted to know if there were any reason we thought, or that Director Sosby might think, that it can't be done, that it's too quick, it can't happen in time.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I'm going to rely on Lisa McGlon to answer that question for me, as she's been the one who's communicated with the locations as well as the poll workers. Lisa, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Pam and I both communicated with the locations, and we really have not had any communication with them much except to tell them what our proposed hours were and they agreed to that. Now, every time, I know the library is pretty strict about when they would like us out of the library. So I don't know. That's a talk with them to see what they'll say. I can tell you for the poll workers that it has been a real month-and-a-half long struggle to staff these locations. And I'm really not sure, after they've been told that they're working until 5, how many people are going to drop out when I tell them on that Wednesday they need to work until 7. I may end up with hardly any staff on that Wednesday. So just be aware. And I don't have a large pool of poll workers to go to ask them to fill that in at this point.
Thank you. That's where the rubber meets the road, right? As far as we want X, Y, and Z to happen, but to make it happen, we need people to make it go. Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. That was my initial comment about it.
I believe I saw your hand, Rocky. Did I see your hand raised, Rocky?
No, I turned my camera off for a second.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Understandably, I am willing to do whatever I can to help out.
Me too.
And I was trained. I don't know whether we get additional training this year, but I think I remember my training. So, feel free. I'm sure that doesn't alleviate a whole lot, but I assume that every little bit helps.
That is very gracious, Will, and I appreciate that. I will tell you that we have planned for a staff of 10 at the library, a staff of 9 at the tennis center, and 6 at the other locations. So on that Wednesday, that's how many people, if you add that up, it's going to take to make this happen. So Willow would fill in 1 spot, and that would be wonderful, but we would still need that many other people minus 1.
Rocky, did I see you throw your hand up?
Yeah, I'm happy to work. I would love to work and help out. I believe this might be another issue of research for the attorney's office. If we can, how much participation board members can do. I think there was some confusion about that last time when we offered for help. So I can help, like, direct people in a line or do something where I'm not directly doing the work, but you need more bodies, right? So, of course we can help.
Yeah. So that would be about 30 people. And also, I'm sure there are some people on our live stream. And please, if you have family, friends who have previously worked the polls, would you ask them to contact Lisa, because we're in dire straits. I feel like if at all possible, could you guys help us out? And I'm going to try to get the word out on Facebook, and I'm sure the other members will be doing some form of asking and appealing to people to come forward and help us out this time. Adam?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm curious if what is the intake process, the orientation process for a new poll worker? How quick is the turnaround? Do they come in batches? Like, do you try to get 5 or 6 of them together and run them through at the same time? Is it, hey, you're here, let's do it right now, give me 2 hours? Or like, what's the process?
There is a hiring process. The application is open right now. They can't work unless they fill out the application and actually pass our qualifications and background check and are hired. So that process takes a little bit, which we're still hoping to hire people. So that's okay. We have time. Training has to take place. That takes place for advanced voting. All of that takes place before the first day of advanced voting. So people are prepared to work. So they would have to be hired, ready to work, and trained before the 12th. Does that help?
It helps tremendously, yes.
We've only had 6 people apply through the poll worker application.
That helps tremendously. Yes, because I like Chair Fambro was saying, if we proceed with this, I want to be sure that I do my part and we all do our part to own it, right? Like we need to help get this across the line. Yeah, because it's not a small thing that we'd be asking you to do. So, okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Hank?
Well, initially when I walked into the meeting, I had the idea of that Wednesdays or one day a week till 7 p.m. because I thought we would be able to start later. And as our attorney mentioned, that is something we cannot do. I'm willing to take back the motion. But let's continue the discussion before I do that. I think the strain on the staff to me it's not just calling the old folks. You're talking about new people, getting them through the hiring process, the training. And after that, last minute, there's going to be one or two people who are not going to be able to make it. And we are doing all this just for a few more. I guess looking at the past statistic, the number of people voting on these elections is very small, although I probably should not be taking that into consideration. We are trying to just make it accessible to everyone, whether they utilize it or not. But somewhere we have to weigh in the cost versus what the benefit is. And without Lisa and Charlotte's support, I would not be inclined to support it too much. But so before we do vote, hopefully we'll get one last comment from each one of them. Rocky, I interrupted you into something.
Rocky?
Rocky, your mute is on.
Thank you. I was just going to offer to make that motion myself. I still believe we should hold Wednesday voting until 7 p.m. So I so move that we hold Wednesday voting on the third week of early voting at every location until 7 p.m., keeping the start times intact as required by law.
Adam?
Yes, ma'am. I was just signaling that I would second that motion if we're wanting to swap it out. I know Hank had
Okay,
mentioned he was
Hank,
withdrawing his motion.
Would you be willing to withdraw your motion?
Yeah,
Because
I can go ahead and.
we would be voting on the last motion first anyway.
Yeah,
But
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch Mr. Raffles' motion. Rocky, can you please repeat that?
Well, I was under the assumption that you had withdrawn your previous motion, so I was going to make the same.
Withdraw the motion.
Okay, so then the motion I made is exactly what you had put forward, but now I'm doing it. And it is the Wednesdays as we have been discussing the whole time.
and it was seconded by Adam. Thank you. Adam, would you read that back for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. I kept the wording intact. I'm happy to change it from, if you'd like to make a change, Rocky. I see motion by Mr. Raffle to conduct advance voting at all locations on Wednesday, October 27, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Shall I add the language that to direct the staff, to instruct the director? How should we, or is it fine the way it is? What do y'all think? I'm sorry.
I think it's fine the way it is.
It's
Okay.
fine the way it is. They're professional. They get it.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. So the question on the floor is, as Adam has just read, all those in favor, which you signify by raising your hand and or saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's 3 ayes. All those not in favor, which you signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have 3 in favor, and Rocky Raffle, Adam Shirley, Willa Fambro, and 1 no vote, you named. So Adam has recorded that. So we will move forward with the Wednesday, the 27th, from 9 to 7 at all locations for early voting. Thank you. Adam?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to ask if it's okay. I will go to the website and find information that I can. But if there's anything that I can do to sort of echo what other board members had said, Director Sosby and Lisa, if there's something we can do to boost the signal about where people go, whom they call, how they get in here, I would like to do all that I can to help, because I'm only one set of hands, but we can get more friends in to help out with this.
Yeah, I'm happy to recruit people as well. I'm confident we can find people.
Yeah, I am too. I really believe we will. And we're going to do everything we can to make it a success.
I have over 1,000 people on Friends of 5 Points organization. Is it appropriate to send out a brief message saying we are looking for poll workers to apply as soon as possible?
That's fine. And you can list the link. It's on ACC jobs,
Okay,
cc.com/jobs.
okay.
Lisa, could you do us a favor and just send us a little email with the info, and then we can easily forward or copy it to others?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Sure.
possible? Thank you so much.
Thank you. So with that change, how does Rocky, I think you had made another suggestion, maybe one or two other suggestions, because I don't think that we ever got Sundays absolutely squared away. Go ahead, Rocky.
So on the Sunday matter, I'd like to defer to your expertise and knowledge of what the members of this community do on Sundays. I recommend we have a Sunday somewhere somehow, but could I lean on your knowledge to
Nope, for that,
recommend perhaps the times?
yeah, for that particular community, I would say perhaps starting at 11 or 11:30 and going to maybe 4 o'clock, something like that, maybe 4:30.
What about even, is 12:30 too late?
I,
12:30 to 5?
I, I don't think so, but I also want to be in regards of, and I may be pushing it back too early in the morning for staff, because I wanted to not make it hard on them to do what they normally do, on Sunday. So a 12 or 12:30 may be more in line with where we need to push it a bit forward. Rocky?
If Sunday voting were to happen in the downtown office, is it necessary that the normal downtown workers are present, or could we assemble a team that perhaps is available during those hours on a Sunday?
That would be Director Sosby and Lisa. Could you speak to that?
I can if Charlotte's not ready, but Charlotte can because, well, okay. So usually Pam is in charge of advanced voting. So if a location is open, she would need to be there. I would need to be available in case there's anything that goes wrong with the equipment. And then you would need a staff of 6 people willing to work that day.
So that's the total of maybe 8 people.
Well, to piggyback off a previous conversation, Lisa, you can count me as one of those 8 people on Sunday. I'll get the necessary training and whatever you need me to do.
Yeah. And I also will be available from 11 until whenever on that, if we choose to do that.
You got 3 with me. I'll be there too. To the extent that we are advised by the attorneys to do it, I'm there. Count me in.
Adam, I actually worked the polls last year.
Awesome. You can teach me. That's great.
No,
I'm sorry. Anyway, yes, I'll be 3 then. I'm at 3.
I will let you guys know, in order to work at the polls, you do have to attend training. You
Okay,
can't train each other. You have to be trained before each election in order to work.
exactly.
So that means, I can tell you what that means later. Actually, you would be attending basically 3 trainings before that.
Okay. Rocky?
I just realized that the Half Marathon is downtown on the 24th. Lisa, are we able to do it at Miriam Moore or the library? I know it's easier to operate out of the office, of course.
I have no idea without being able to contact the locations
Oh, based on, yeah. Um,
based on availability.
right. Could we,
I mean, we're already there, so I'm not really sure.
right,
I mean, they
Probably
can't
not.
use the space anyway because we're
Right.
already there, but I don't really know what they would say about that.
I just worry about parking and stuff. The same with that game day, the day before or the week before. It's the same issue. You know, the streets are closed and the parking is changed because the marathon's using that.
Are they,
Lines in front of City Hall. So
they're using that space right at City Hall?
yeah, the marathon finishes or starts right at City Hall. So that whole everything is going to be a mess.
Wow.
Are you
I
talking
believe
about
it-
opening Sunday at all the locations so it's fair? Because that would definitely be a staff problem.
But I do believe that the
was-
marathon ends early. I think by noon or 11, it's over. It's generally starts in the
They
morning,
still
right?
having Sundays, I know now. I don't know about Wednesdays.
I believe Charlotte wants to say something
Yeah.
when you guys are ready.
Charlotte?
We'll need to check
That-
with
those-
Miriam Moore because I don't know if they still have it because of COVID, but I believe there's a church service that goes on there on either Wednesdays or Sundays. So we'll have to check with them.
Okay. Rocky?
Could we make a decision pending facility availability?
I think that would be appropriate if everybody else is in agreement.
And will we need to reconvene in a meeting to approve it, or can this just happen?
I think that we can word it in such a way where if there's not any law that circumvents it, that we may be able to answer through an email. If we make that motion in a particular way. I don't know if either one of them, I see Attorney Pappas, but we've done that on other boards that I've been on, but I'm sure this board is probably not like any other as far as rules and regs go.
I would be concerned with making a decision and then emailing if there's a motion. I think you would need to reconvene a public meeting to go on record with whatever the motion is and what the vote is. I don't think we can put a motion out there and then email responses based upon information that we get outside of a meeting.
Could we do something like, if it goes this way, then the vote will stand. If it doesn't go that way, then we can make a room for, to reconvene, to take up the matter.
No, because then you'd still have the issue of the public is not knowing
I got you.
what happened. Does that make sense? I was
Yeah,
trying to
Makes
be
sense.
more eloquent in that response, but
It makes sense. Adam?
Thank you. I'm trying to untangle this now. So I hear we have the Half Marathon. There's an event going downtown that will make parking a nightmare and access to the building, not a nightmare, complicated. And so we've kind of begun brainstorming about going to a different location. But then of course that gets it. Okay, I'm trying to catch up now because it seemed so simple when it was like, oh, it's our building, right? It's the office we occupy. We're okay with that if we say we're okay with that. But if it gets so complicated so quickly.
And I think that we actually, is there any way we can pull up any kind of schedule for that at this point?
For half?
Yeah, and see what their
I
schedule.
know the director. Let me ask her.
I'm sorry. The website says half Sunday, October 24th at 7:30 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it may turn into an all-day event.
It may. What about this is right, and I'll stop. Madam Chair, what about the option of the Sunday the week before? Unless state law says if it's going to be Sunday, I think it's state law says we can do Saturdays or Sundays, but I'll double check. But if the law allows us to, what would we think about the appeal of doing it to simplify matters on October the 17th instead of 24th.
If it's allowable, that would probably be a good solution. Hank, I thought I saw your hand.
Yeah, I see the marathon as a plus. That means the folks are already out there. They've already decided on the parking. I also, right now, I feel the office is the only place we should have it on that Sunday. If you're going to ask people to go somewhere particular, especially on a marathon day, it's going to be a lot of work put together for very little result. I think we are there. People see the sign, voting, or the full board is going to be there. If you're going to do it on a Sunday, I really, really like that Sunday right there. And I know the marathon part will be over, but the good part is there's going to be a lot of people out there. Of course, a lot of them are students out of town. They cannot vote. But those who are there, we might be able to give them an opportunity, which is what our purpose is today. That's how I feel about that particular Sunday.
Thank you, Hank. I believe I saw Director Soulsby. Okay. Yeah, I'm inclined. The only thing that I would be concerned about is that is a one-way street. And if it's around the courthouse, people might not be able to access even to, come down that way. Because normally when they have these things, there's a lot of blocking off going on.
Well, if we have our voting hours like 12 to 7 or 12 to 5 or something like that, I think by then things are going to be much more clear. That just like Rocky and others, I have been to a couple of those marathons, and typically they're done by 9:30. After that, people are
Dispersing,
celebrating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll be a non-issue, but I just remembered that was a day. But I'm ready to make a motion if the chair will.
Yes, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we hold Sunday voting from 12:30 to 4:30 at the downtown location of the Board of Elections at 155 East Washington Street on Sunday, October 24th.
I second that motion.
Okay. We have a motion and it's been second, and Adam, I saw your hand, Adam.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I wanted, as usual, I wanted to be sure, first of all, I got the right motion, and then I was going to share my thoughts. I have currently a motion by, and I missed the names, I'm sorry, it was Mr. Raffle, by Mr. Raffle to conduct advanced voting at, and I will insert the address for the downtown location, on Sunday, October 24th, 2021, from the times were which again? 12:30 to 4:30?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I've got right now. Seconded by Mr. Kadir, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And as our secretary, Shirley has read the motion and the question, all those in favor, would you signify by raising your hand and or saying aye?
Aye.
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 So it has been passed unanimously. So we've taken care of the Sunday vote, and we've taken care of the 10 to, was it 10 to 11? The previous vote.
9 a.m. until 7 p.m.
9 a.m.
on
to
Wednesday.
6 p.m. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
we have to stick to that 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Yes.
And that's just on the one day, the 20, what was it?
The 20, I want to say the 20, but let me look at my calendar.
7th.
I want to say that date, 27th.
The motion that I had recorded was the 27th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I was a little edgy about saying that, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So do we need to, at this time, address any of the others, any of the other times so we can go forth and vote on the rest of the slate of times and places that are already drawn out? So we can make it official? So not seeing any hands, I'll entertain a motion to vote on the other early voting dates and times. Adam?
I would move that we approve the voting locations and hours for advance voting as recommended by Director Sosby with the changes that we have made today.
Yes. Thank you. So
Again.
we have a motion by Adam Shirley and a second by Rocky Raffle. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. So again, it is unanimous. And I believe that we have concluded the new business for advanced voting hours and location for the November 2021 election. So if there's nothing further on that, we'll move to guys, I lost my agenda.
It was just the announcement for
Yeah.
voter forums.
Yeah, it was just the announcements. Could someone please bring us up to speed on those announcements?
Yes, ma'am. I'm happy to. The agenda that I'm reading, it says political education forums, all are welcome. We have the forum for the community at the Athens-Clarke County Library Thursday, September 23rd from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. And then one that is for elected officials, but the public is still welcome at the Snipes Water Resource Center, 780 Barber Street on Tuesday, September 28th from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. And then our final announcement is the October regular meeting of the Board of Elections is October 12th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m.
Thank you, Adam. If there's no more, okay, Rocky, I see your hand.
I am unable to attend both of them. I know that there was a request from Hank, I believe,
Yeah.
for me to attend the elected officials one. I have a party meeting on the 23rd that I could potentially skip if no one else is available, but I have a T-Splosh meeting on the 28th, which I cannot skip. So I don't know if we can shuffle around to get two people.
We can, and if I would like to go, of course, as many as I can, but I definitely, let's just focus on the next one for Thursday. I would like to attend that one. Is there anyone else who would like to join me on that one?
I would like to, but I'm not able to. I'm sorry. Tuesday next week, I'm definitely there. I'm able to go. But Thursday, I'm sorry.
Okay, Hank, I guess it's me and you.
Okay, so we'll go to the one at the
so
live.
I'm going to skip Tuesday, Thursday as well then. If
Okay,
we'll
so
let Hank.
it'll be me and Hank, and so that's not a quorum, so we're in good shape.
Okay, that's good.
You guys can do the next Tuesday, so it won't be a quorum again.
Yeah, I just felt since Adam and who had gone to the other one, I guess Ann did. Adam and Ann attended the political party one, right? Only you. Oh, if you had told me, I would have been happy to join you, but
It's okay.
I thought I saw Adam's hand before we adjourned.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to say, just to echo what Miss Elsner said in her public comment, the presentation was fantastic. The one for the political parties last week, staff did a tremendous job. So well put together. I mean, I would expect nothing less, but thank y'all so much to staff. Director Sosby, thank you for leading the way on that. It's great.
Yeah.
Anybody watching this video, please go to these forums. It's all the questions you ever had and all the ones you never had will be answered at these. So thank y'all.
Yeah. And I want Director Sosby and the staff to know that we absolutely appreciate you guys, because anytime we call up, you're just ready to answer and help us out with our concerns or whatever's going on with us. So thank you all, and thank the staff so much for being so cooperative.
Yeah.
And with that, if there's nothing else to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
It's been, so at this point, all those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. So this is the conclusion of our special call meeting. And thank everybody for coming, and you guys have a blessed night.
Thank y'all
Lisa,
so
please
much.
go ahead and send us the schedule for the training for all the poll workers. Well, we definitely will need to be on that one.
I will definitely contact you all about it.
Thank
you so much.
you guys so much. Good night.
Lisa, I have you know that